Everyone needs therapy.
Everyone does need therapy.
This is Renee.
And this is Irina.
And you're listening to Honey, I'm Healing.
Oh, I feel like my belly is like always in the way when I sit down now.
I mean, it's a good problem to have. Like, well, when you're pregnant, and when you're not pregnant, it's
No, agreed.
the holidays are coming. Stretchy pants season.
That's funny. Yeah. How are you?
Okay. This is a vulnerable moment for me. We love vulnerability here on Honey, I'm Healing, right? So
Yeah.
there have been a few instances lately where I've been like in a rush or flurry. Like, I don't know, just like flustered. And so
yeah.
I'm trying to get my keys out to unlock my door, and I'm pressing my car key fob like to unlock my door, my apartment door. And that's not the right situation. And, I was like, oh goodness.
It's one of those days. It's totally been like that for me today too.
You can take the blonde out of the girl. Or no, that's
You're
not
not gonna get it right today.
No, I'm not gonna try.
Accept that. That's so funny.
I am so excited to talk about what we're gonna talk about today.
Jump in, because I don't know which of the 8 topics you want to go into first.
Well, okay, so today we're going to be talking about ways that we've found ourselves again, or tips for it. And I was trying to do research on this, and I'm really glad that we're talking about this, because there really isn't a whole lot. So I'm going to personally be talking about things that helped me. So coming out of my divorce and that whole situation, and just being a shell of a person, I was like, I don't know who I am anymore, especially because I put so much of my identity in another person, and there was a lot of ambiguous grief. It was just like the perfect storm, and I know a lot of people can resonate with that, whether or not they're getting divorced. I think it's just something that's pretty common in human experience, to just wake up one morning and be like, I don't know who I am anymore.
Yeah.
Last I checked, it was 11. It might be 13. It's growing. I don't know. But these are just things that I've done that have really helped me, and I wanted to share them because I hope that they help other people too.
Okay. Mine will come from the top of my head because I did not do any research, but I feel like that's just, yeah.
I have a feeling that you're going to agree with a lot of the ones that I have.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, and this is goofy, which is not surprising, but it's solo dance parties. And there is a lot of science behind how movement and dance can break up stress. It increases your dopamine and endorphins. It improves your cognitive function. But what it did for me was it allowed me to create a space where I was able to be silly and goofy and confront this like awkward feeling of not really knowing who I am anymore, in a space where literally nobody saw me, and just giving myself permission to just like let my body express what my mind couldn't register. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think scientifically, like dancing, especially by yourself, increases vibration.
Okay.
Within like the field of energy, and high vibrational things just evolve into other high vibrational things like joy, happiness, and like identity or fulfillment. Because I feel like fulfillment and identity are a little bit linked. They bring those things too.
Yeah, there was a Washington Post article that I had glanced at, but I wanted to read this quote because it's so good. It's all of our biochemistry is influenced by music, and our brain is a prediction machine. It likes to feel safe. Anything that gives rhythm to our day gives the brain a sense of security and safety. Rhythm is a regularly occurring event that the brain can predict. So, tied in with music is the fact that rhythm is very important to us evolutionarily.
I love that. I feel like biologically too. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And so, I think that that's why, I mean, I've talked about this before on here. Like, people watch the same shows over and over again that have anxiety or something because your brain knows, like, what's going to happen. It's a safety thing. But
Mm-hmm.
when I would put music on and just like get goofy by myself, it just kind of brought me down because when you're in a hard season, you're feeling 1,000 things at one time and it's really overwhelming to just pick one thing and deal with it. So, but
Mm-hmm.
when you're dancing and you're moving and you're in the moment, it's easier to just like let yourself be free and then let things float to the surface.
That's so good. I'm just trying to think of like why I don't do dance parties for myself.
I think you should start.
I feel like, yeah,
You need to put some Jesse McCartney on and just have a dance party by yourself. I am the world's worst dancer, too, by the way. I make a joke about it at weddings, but it should be considered a biohazard. It's nothing about me is graceful. So, like,
I imagine Bella Swan dancing when I
a
imagine you dancing.
1,000%. It is awkward and uncomfortable for all parties involved.
Mm.
But that's what's fun about it. It's
Mm-hmm.
giving myself space to just let it be.
I'll tell you one thing. So, since Haven is now back officially in public school and homeschooling has been a very huge part of her life for the past year and a half, it's something that has given me a lot of purpose, fulfillment, something that makes me feel accomplished, something I don't like, I feel like I provide value into our home, our family, our one income situation. Like in the past 3 weeks since she started public school, I've gone through this huge like what do I do now kind of moment, and I've started one having to wake up around 6 a.m. to get her ready for school, but one thing that I've been doing for myself that I am so in love with right now, and if I miss it, it changes the tone of my day. When I do it, I feel like I just, I think it's a part of finding myself again, but I've been doing Joe Dispenza's morning meditation. It's like 15 to 20 minutes, and I just sit in the dark with the fireplace on and just listen. And I'm just quiet and just very mindful and purposeful about like what my day is going to be like, who I want to be. I love it.
I love that. That flows really well into the second one. And I did put affirmations on this list. So I think affirmation and then the next point that I'll bring up all kind of really ties into that really well. I put journaling and prayer or just meditating
Mm-hmm.
and affirmations. I remember when I was at University of Tennessee, I had to take this leadership skills class, and it was one of those classes that was once a week, but it was like 4 hours long or something like that. It was a really long class. But my professor played the banjo, which is the most Tennessee thing, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Anyway, I'll never forget in that class, my professor was telling us about the importance of needing to write things down because what it does neurobiologically is it releases the need to feel like you have to ruminate on something, and it allows
Yes.
you it putting it on paper actually does help your brain.
Does the
um,
notes app count as the same? Because that's where all mine go.
1,000%. There are studies that are done about physically writing things out, and that's the camp that I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
I carry my journal with me absolutely everywhere that I go, and that is something that is 100% me. That's
Mm-hmm.
INFJ core, but
Mm-hmm.
I I have to physically write it down.
I want to be that person. Haven is that person, and I love it. She carries her journal everywhere, and she's got something to say. If she is mad at me and she's feeling something, she goes to her journal.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to be that person, but for me, it's my notes app. And I feel like that's almost the same thing, because I can tell you that if I have big feelings and I'm like, oh, I need to go to this person. No, if I put it in my notes, like I feel that falling off of my shoulders. Are you the same? Do you have that experience when you journal?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a lot of it is it's stream of consciousness. It's not judging myself for what comes out. It's not focusing on the grammar or punctuation or anything like that. It's literally just like getting it from here onto the page. You can't elaborate or express a need that you don't identify first. So journaling is kind of the roadmap to get there, at least in my experience. So, but then affirmations on that other side of it, I feel like that's that deposit. It's that investment into who you're looking to be. Yeah. And I've found we talk about how much I love visualization on here too. I can't tell you how many Pinterest boards I have of what I want to emulate or what I want my life to look like.
Yeah.
Because even though I couldn't verbally define it, I knew what it looked like. And so being able to put it on a Pinterest board and when I'm out shopping, I'll go and look at that and be like, what would she buy today? And it's like kind of just giving myself a little bit more of a criteria.
Yeah. I so admire that about you. It's definitely an inspiration for me. There is something to say about being so purposeful in the life you want, to the point to where you, however you do it, write it down, speak it, visualize it, meditate on it, pray about it. You do it in a way that's like, okay, I've received that. I receive it. And then you don't desire it. You don't even want it. I think that's the part that comes right after all of that, is where you let go of the wanting and the desire, and you just accept and have gratitude of exactly where you're at. But you're also accepting, like, through feelings, emotions, thoughts that like, oh, but this is where I'm meant to be. This is who I really am.
Yes, that is the joy of surrender.
Yeah.
And so many of us get caught in this cycle of wrestling with needing to control an outcome or needing to control a situation where I feel like we're led to exhaust ourselves so that we get to that place of, after the letting go, that joy of surrender. And that is that sweet spot of freedom.
Like, tell me once in your life when wanting to control an outcome has ever gotten you that outcome. Never. If anything, you create more anxiety for yourself. And what I find, what really happens is, what's the term? Fulfill, like, you fulfill your own prophecy. Like, no, not prophecy.
A self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, it's a self-fulfilling, whatever you're anxious about, you're going to fulfill it. So, like, learning to really let go, I think, is how it's one of the big steps of finding ourselves through that.
That's so good. Okay, this next one is something I know that you also do, because I've seen your TikToks recently and I'm obsessed. Doing something with my hands.
Oh, yeah.
I.e., getting creative. And this part's like twofold also. So there was, one of the other points that I had was trying something new for the sake of being terrible at it.
Yeah, I'm there right now.
Yeah. But you know me, I'm a perfectionist and I don't like to do things if I'm not going to be 100% right away. That's why I don't wakeboard, because I know that I'm going to fall flat on my face.
But everyone does the first time.
I know,
but I know what you mean.
I have premeditated embarrassment about, like, about that. And I have no reason to, because everybody that I would be in front of loves me insanely and like supports me. But I like,
if it helps you, like my eye vision's not that great. I wouldn't have seen you as clearly fall as clearly.
That does really make me feel better. Thank you.
There would even be a delay in me telling Matt, hey, stop the boat. She fell because I can't see you. Okay.
That's good.
So just for next summer when you're back.
But yeah, doing something with my hands. I have it right here. Hold on. I started crocheting again.
Shut the front door because I'm about to go get my crochet little project.
You're doing a crochet project?
Yes.
Go get it. Go get it.
I can't because it's for you.
Oh, well, I was going to make this for you or for.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Are we seriously crocheting something for each other without knowing?
Of course we are. I'm obsessed. No, but I need to figure out quilt for little in utero.
Baby girl. Yeah. You mean like the vibes?
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe this.
Your heart. Whatever your heart says. Yeah. Cottage core. That is so funny.
I love that. Do you like crocheting?
Yeah.
It's so fun. I do it while I watch TV or listen to an audiobook. It is the best.
Same.
Because it gives me something to fidget with. I was on a date recently and I had bangles on and I was playing with them because I was nervous, right? Mm-hmm. And he literally grabs my hands and he's like, it's okay. And I was like,
that's
okay.
hot.
No.
I like that. Okay, that speaks the language that I like. You know what I've started doing because I'm trying to hit 10,000 steps every day. And after I do my bar workout, I'll go to the treadmill and I'll listen to my audiobook and crochet at the same time. So feel like
on the treadmill?
Yes, but
crocheting on the treadmill?
Yeah, I did it. And I even set my phone up to record myself. I was like, I'm gonna do a little video of this. And like I did it with the back and like the back of the camera because it's better quality.
Yeah.
And then for 30 minutes I recorded the timer on the because I forgot to switch the camera. So it's like you just see a timer recording the front of the treadmill. I was so bummed. Anyways, that's a side note, but yeah, try that one if you're trying to get your stuff in.
Again, least coordinated person. I would find a way where the yarn would get it would fall. It would get stuck in the track, and then there would be a fire because of the friction with the acrylic yarn. And then like the treadmill, like there again, it's a biohazard. So
oh, that's so funny.
Like that would be my luck,
to see it, honestly.
Oh, do it. It's just the stories that I could tell. Another thing that I did was getting outside, and it's funny because there's that phrase that's like people are like touch grass.
Yeah,
but like actually go touch grass. Go outside, and
it's grounding.
It is. When I did 75 hard, one of the things you have to do out every day is 45 minutes outdoor activity, like physical activity. And that was one of the best things that I've ever done because what it did was, and not in a creepy way, let me preface that, but I got to I saw people around their dinner tables all eating dinner through their kitchen window but you get these like really sweet vignettes of people's lives and it makes you feel so small.
It's like my favorite hobby is driving at night and looking in people's windows to see their decor. And
that's our soundbite right there.
Like, especially now that it's getting darker earlier and like I'm driving more in the evenings when people are still awake, like people haven't put their blinds down yet. And I'm like, oh, I like your dining table. Well, that's cute.
Yeah,
you guys all
sit
West together. Elm? Oh, I like your tree. Yeah. Creepy.
Yeah, but again, it just makes you feel really small. And when your problems feel big or when you really don't remember like who you are, it's nice to feel small because then it feels like you can tackle the problem.
Yeah, I love the feeling of like feeling so small in our big, big world. I just listened to this book by someone, Degrassi, can't even remember his name, but Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. Let me rephrase that. That book should be for Astrophysics for Smart People in a Hurry.
Smart people.
Went way over my head, but if you ever stop to think about just like the universe, the world, how things work, like how our heart beats, like, and you just kind of, it's like that moment we had once where I'm like, do you ever just look at your hands and you're like, I'm alive? Like, what is even, how am I alive?
Was
Who
that
are
on the
these
camping
people?
trip?
Like, yeah, no, that was on the trip to Hamilton. So there is nothing like feeling small and really grounding yourself, like imagining how massive and big this world is compared to our own little selves and our own conscious thoughts. So
Amen. Okay, this is another thing. This is a DBT thing that my therapist introduced to me. I've talked about it also before, but it's radical acceptance. And I think that the last season of my life, which I refer to as the wilderness, as a lot of people do, I think the biggest thing that I kept repeating to people, that was like the most profound thing that I acknowledged. People would be like, that's really negative. And I'm like, no, it's just the truth. And that's like, at the end of the day, you don't have anybody but yourself. So we need to have this mentality of nobody's coming to save me.
Or, as a popular searched right now on TikTok for many women, is don't depend on anyone.
Yes. But seriously, I mean, outside of like my faith or whatever, like I don't, because as a recovering codependent person, it's so important for me to recognize that like I need to be okay with not being needed. And I need to be okay with not attaching my identity to that. I have to attach my identity to what I need. I need to attach my identity to what I want to do. And there's space to love somebody well while also taking care of myself. And I think that this entire process really highlighted to me about what loving myself actually looks like. Because sometimes it is taking a bubble bath, but sometimes it is eating a cookie in the grocery store parking lot that I got on a whim and like pretending that I didn't eat it, or like, not shamefully, but getting yourself a treat. Sometimes that's what self-care looks like, or taking care of yourself, or loving yourself. And
I could speak on that all day.
Go off.
Oh, just like if you really want to find yourself, love yourself. I saw this video today, and it was this girl, and she was just like, I bet you 99.9% of your problems can be solved if you learn to self-regulate yourself. If you learn that, like, no matter what, I'm okay. Like, I don't need anyone. And you know what I commented? And I was just like, I feel like you can go one step deeper. And if you genuinely love yourself and you know your worth and your value, you can then so much more easily regulate yourself, detach, securely attach. Because I believe that kids, in the first 7 years of your life, that is when really who you are and who you will forever be is formed. How your worth is instilled in you, and your value, and how much you love yourself based on like what your caregivers or the guardians who are in your life are teaching you, you will securely attached. And then that sets the pace for the rest of your life of, well, can you regulate yourself as an adult when someone leaves you? Can you be like, okay, well, that's not the end of the world, because guess what? Like, I still exist. My identity lies within me, not you. So yeah, loving yourself always comes first. And I feel like Christians, I always relate back to Christians, because I even had a conversation with a friend where she's like, well, that's kind of being selfish, and Jesus tells us to, put our cross down. I'm like, but is that what that really means? Because you can't love others if you can't love yourself correctly. Otherwise, you're giving from an empty cup, and you're loving others to get love in return, and that's not love. Or, that's just one example.
I've said this before on here too, but you can't extend to something that you don't receive. So to the measure that I can love somebody else, I have to receive that for me. That is not selfish. That is necessary. It is necessary. Because if I don't know what love is, if I don't know how to receive real love, I'm going to give away broken, fractured love to somebody else. And
hurt yourself in the process even more.
Exactly. And that is where resentment comes in. That's where contempt comes in. That's where the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse from the Gottman Institute come in.
We need to talk about that next week, because I have a lot to say on that.
Yeah. So good. But that's where a lot of strings come in, and it's not unconditional. And if you have to learn to love yourself unconditionally. You have to learn to love every version of yourself.
We need to get into the topic of how do we find our worth? Because, again, conversations I've had with women is, well, I find my worth in Jesus. And I have a lot of conflicting thoughts on this, because who Jesus really was sometimes is not what's interpreted by the men who interpret the word, or have culturally interpreted, because the Bible was written by men and then interpreted by men, not by women. So the way men find their worth is very, very different in the way that women find their worth. So really want to get into the topic of, like, as a woman, how do we find our worth in who? And stay tuned for that one.
I have so much to say. So good.
I think we're like 2 minutes off.
The last one that I'll say is retracing your steps and trying something that you love to do when you were last secure in your identity, and going back to that. So for me, that was writing and reading poetry. And I wanted to read one of the poems that I came across, if that's okay.
Yeah.
What was one thing that you did that, like, you started doing again?
Crocheting. Really, I'm just such a creative person. Like, anything where I can use my hands, get creative. I've really, like, started delving more into pottery, which kind of is inconvenient now with the weather, because it's freezing outside, and I'm sitting outside of my hands wet in this pottery wheel, but trying to convince Matt to let me bring it in the house.
Yeah, why not?
I think it's dangerous, like, to breathe in.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So I came across a poet. She's Scottish, which is so on brand for me, right?
Right.
Her name is Donna Ashworth, but it's a poem that she wrote called Joy Chose You. Joy does not arrive with a fanfare on a red carpet strewn with the flowers of a perfect life. Joy sneaks in as you pour a cup of coffee, watching the sunlight hit your favorite tree just right. And you usher joy away because you are not ready for her. Your house is not as it should be for such a distinguished guest. But joy cares nothing for your messy home or your bank balance or your waistline, you see. Joy is supposed to slither through the cracks of your imperfect life. That's how joy works. You cannot truly invite her. You can only be ready when she appears and hug her with meaning. Because in this very moment, joy chose you.
I love that.
So good.
I love that too, because it's like, that's available for everyone. You know, it's
Yeah.
not like, hey, you have to go find joy. It's like, hey, joy is already here. It's choosing you. Can you make room for it?
Give yourself permission to feel it. Because when you're in survival mode, it is extremely difficult to let yourself feel happy again and feel joy, because you feel like the other shoe is going to drop. And even if it's fleeting, feel the joy and feel it fully. It's so important. And you'll grow in your capacity to participate in that feeling as it comes up again, participate in joy as it comes again. And I feel like that's giving yourself more of the opportunity to like grow in that.
Agreed.
So good.
I love it. What a heartfelt session. I hope this spoke life into others.
I love it. I hope that this helps. I don't know. It helped me, so.
You help me.
You help me, help you, help me. Help me, help you.
Okay.
Adios.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.